Welcome back to Ask the Attorney. I'm here with Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. I'm Amy Rao-Mohan, and we were just talking about the law business can be a hard one.
Yeah, and we have people that come in, and I run an internship program every summer, and it's so exciting because they're bright-eyed and they want to conquer the world.
Yeah.
And then, once you get into court and you get tied in with some really tough lawyers that advance on you hard, you say, whoa, wait a minute. And I've heard over the years, many times we'll get a young lawyer and they'll say, Mr. Kennedy, 6 months in, this is not really what I thought it was going to be. And so, but on the other hand, the practice of law, I think it's a wonderful, noble profession. You can stand up. It's impressive to have people say, well, you represent me, to stand up beside them and stand up for them. And really, there's no greater honor. And then you spend a lifetime trying to help people. So I don't know what other great nobility cause there could be other than the practice of law.
Yeah.
And one of my most esteemed judges said, Kevin, that's why we call it the practice of law. And you'll see many judges, they'll put in their 30 years and then they're done, because they've been in the battlefield, been in the trenches, they've had to make hard decisions, and when they're finished, they're finished. And so, do you love the law? I see some lawyers that say we just absolutely, and really I think I just love helping people. The motto when I first became a lawyer, we're committed to helping people, and even then I knew what is where? You're Kevin. I always knew somebody would be with me, and I always had that. I learned it in the law school. We had a great, powerful study group team. And that's, I guess, when I first realized I had some leadership ability, because people would look to me and I'd say, let's go do this. And we all got through it.
Yeah, with law school, I remember it was essential to have those study groups.
Absolutely. And if you soloed yourself, it's kind of like, hey, you pulled outside the warmth and the comfort, and then you can turn a dingy gray when you get the log outside the fire.
All right, we've got a couple calls here, and you can keep calling that number, 737 plus 737 7587. We've got Jane here. Hi, Jane. Jane, can you hear us? All right, we will try to come back to Jane. We'll give Jane. Okay, we will try to come back to Jane, and I think we've got someone on 2. Courtney, who's on 2? We've got David here. Hi, David.
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, go right ahead, David. What's your question?
I was going to ask you a question about wills. I used to listen to a lawyer coming out of California, handle on the law, and he said a judge could overturn a will called unjust enrichment. It was Old English law. I've always been curious about that. You know anything about it?
Well, what would happen is someone would file a will contest or a will contest, and they could say it was either undue influence or duress. The person signed their will under duress. This one is undue enrichment.
Yeah, I've never heard of unjust enrichment with something like that.
Usually, unjust enrichment is if I had a contract with you and you went and got all the benefits of it, and then you never paid me. Well, then you unjustly enriched yourself. And so that's a separate law. So the judge could have made a mistake, or that lawyer could have made a mistake.
Maybe it was undue influence, maybe.
But undue influence is quite popular in will contests. And again, if somebody has a big estate, they're going to come out of the woodwork, say, I'm entitled to it, and usually the lawyers are going to negotiate and settle all that.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll get Jane back on one, but we're going to try another David who's on the line. Hi, David.
Yes.
How can we help you?
Hopefully Mr. Kennedy can tell me about some state of Kentucky law.
He might.
Okay, tell us, what's the question?
My question is, at what legal age can a child make a decision to which parent to live with?
Well, as a general rule, I'm not familiar exactly with the Kentucky statute. In Tennessee, when a child gets 14, the court shall consider what the child says, but that's not an absolute. And I just fought one where the child wanted to go with mother instead of father, and father had custody. And we put on proof that the child was not doing what they should in the father's home, and the judge at the conclusion, and the daughter actually testified, and she expressed her preference. But at the end of the day, we still won. So the court shall consider it, but it doesn't have to absolutely follow what the child says. And that's 14.
Yeah, and family law, domestic law like that does vary from state to state, so it's something that you'd have to check the Kentucky code for.
Right, and my experience has been if the child is mature, makes good grades, and has a good plausible reason why they want to change, the court really looks at that very heavily.
All right, we've got Sue here. Hi, Sue.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, go ahead, Sue.
I heard you say that.
And Sue, if you've got your TV set turned up, make sure you turn that down and just talk to us on the phone.
Okay. I want to know that if you have a will, okay, I heard him talking about a will. I want to know if you have a will, then you want to cancel it, void it. Who do you have to tell that to, or do you have to hire an attorney? What?
If you want to void your will, you can take your will and tear it up into shreds, and there's no will. And when you die, you would die intestate, and then the court, whoever, it would go just like how the state of Tennessee would call. And so usually if there's a wife and a child, the wife and the child would take that. If there's 2 children, then the children take under it when there's no estate, when there's no will. But remember this, you can write children out of a will in Tennessee. You don't have to leave your children anything. And in Tennessee, if a wife were written out of a will, she still has an elective share under Tennessee law that she can say, I'm still going to get 1/3 of that estate plus a 1 year's support. And she can just say, I don't care what y'all say, I'm going to get this. She gets a lawyer, and she's going to get 1/3.
You may want to revoke your will, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you should not have a will at all. You can always revise it or change it completely, whatever you want to do.
I think everybody needs a valid will all the time.
It does seem like something you always hear about in the movies where someone throws a will into the fire or rips it up.
Well, and especially if I just said, I'm going to leave Amy everything, and then I realized Amy had been undermining me and doing everything. And I said, I cannot believe that, Amy. Tear the will up in case I died tonight. And then, it would at least have kept Amy from receiving anything.
Okay. Now, what if you've got more than one copy of the will?
Well, it's the original. It's the original, and that's why the copy won't work.
Okay, and normally we are on the 3rd Thursday of every month, so we want you to continue to watch for us next month and in the months to come. And also you can go onto newschannel5.com's website and look for OpenLine, and you can watch it live streaming and a couple other times during the month as well. And Kevin, tell us a little bit about maybe your most favorite thing about practicing law.
Favorite thing about practicing law, we create opportunity, we don't wait. And one of the happiest times is doing an adoption. You can adopt, and you've made a family. Every lawyer that does adoptions, they've given the gift of life. I used to write, and I've written several books, and one of my famous articles, The Gift of Life, and it was about adoption. My latest works that I've been writing about is the power of relationships. And so, other lawyers within I love it every day. You can go in there, and I feel good. And when one of my lawyers, I say, how do we stand on that case? What's the reason? He says, Mr. Kennedy, we got him. Then when my number one man says we got him, we got him. And I like to hear what they have to say, but it's fun, and it's nothing in this world that can be better than you say, Amy, we got it covered.
All right, well, we're going to take a break with that.